Perfect. I'll record
Okay.
now. Okay. Do you happen to know what that permanent note was called?
Yes, there was one which was, I think it was, what was it? Potential. It was
Fearless?
underneath.
Elaboration?
No,
Routine?
the
Potential.
the index was
Active, this
potential.
one?
Yes.
Perfect. Let's take a look. Obviously, you got the structure. The structure, you got it. Look at this. This is perfect. This is exactly what you want. This is beautiful. I don't know why it's not. Let me refresh this page. The structure looks great. I remember going through your work. Structure looks great. What was taking so long?
I think it's the fleeting notes. I think just really extracting. Okay, because I think for me, the paradigm shift happened on day 17 with the photographs.
Yeah.
Yes, because at first I didn't really go in depth. I just I went through it pretty quickly. So then when the next session was where we had to like go through it and then go in depth, that's when I realized that, okay, I think I really need to dig deep and not just be on the surface. So then what happened is when I started to do that, I think it clicked. So it was easier to inform my literature notes.
Yes, obviously.
So, but then the thing is, I think a lot. So,
well,
I feel like I just
this is what I want to tell you right now. This is phenomenal, right? And I love how Rome just automatically gives you this sort of structure. You know, it's an automatic structure. Like I can understand this. I can understand how your thought process is, right? And then I also see like this is great because then when I collapse this, what's beautiful is that when you do all this work here, this work is so much easier. And I think that's the evidence of that. And it's, if this takes you 2 hours to do, I also want you to realize that this is an investment in a note that doesn't die.
Yes.
And it's does that make sense?
Yes, it makes a lot of sense.
And so is it really 2 hours of your time, or is it really you're creating something that's going to last forever? You know, these are your notes, these are your thoughts. And I'm just looking at the structure here. I mean, this is perfect structure. You have the reference note there so you can just see it, and then underneath you have the actual text. The permanent note is perfect, right? It's a declarative statement that's very clear, and obviously I can see where you got that idea from, and it's right there. You have all the relevant notes there as well.
Okay, I think maybe the issue was it's not even necessarily the time, because usually my mornings are free, so I can write as much as I need to. I think maybe I was just concerned because I wanted to maybe do like at least 2 permanent notes in a day as opposed to maybe just 1. So I think maybe that was the thing.
I'm going to show you my own. And it's one of those things where it's, how do you explain this to somebody? This feeling of relief, this feeling of, you know, I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. This is mine. This is mine.
Oh wow. Okay.
Right? I'm right there with you. You know, I'm right there with you. And it's like permanent notes there. The relevant notes are all here. Like I'm right there with you. But let's go to December 6th. I mean, it took me, what is that? 40 minus 7. It took me 33 minutes. This is my permanent note, right?
Yes.
And this is December 6th. I've been doing this for months. And it took me 33 minutes. You know, and it's that's not even a long one. But what's beautiful is that it's this very simple structure, but when I go into the permanent notes page, it's what I do with that. that's powerful.
Yes.
And it's the how everything is connected. And if I click on one thing, I can move to the next thing, and all those notes are there. You see that?
Yeah.
And that's the power of all of this, is this.
Okay.
And if you look at the permanent notes page now, right? This is crazy. Like, look at this. Like, look how many notes there are.
Oh, yes.
And it's hard to imagine what this looks like when it's all your words, you know? And then these are all your words. And then say you want to write something about serendipity, and you have 23 different ways of connecting serendipity, but it's not really 23, it's exponential. Because if I go to this permanent note and I shift click on this permanent note into the sidebar, is it really 23, or is it 23 times 9 times 6? You know, times 13. And it's just this is the whole jumping from one note to the next note. And you see how literally all I'm doing is going to the relevant notes, and these are huge notes. And I hope that shows you the why it's important to write these notes down, because you don't know when you're going to stumble upon this note again, and it could be this one fleeting note three notes away that inspires you for this article.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes a lot of sense.
So what do you think?
Yes, I mean, I think it's important, because what I've realized is that if I don't go in depth with my fleeting notes, I find when I get to the permanent notes phase, when I'm trying to write the declarative statement, it's like I'm still thinking about whatever the article was about that I read, or where I got the note from, which tells me that, look, I think I didn't think too much, or I didn't really go in depth, because it's like I'm still capturing fleeting notes. There's always a point where it's like you said, it's like you just feel free. That's when I know, when I write down, or like even when I summarize at the top and I read what I've written, and I'm like, okay, this is it. Like I get it. But if I don't get that feeling, I feel like, okay, I need to go back to the fleeting notes, and I need to keep thinking and extracting until it's clear, basically, and until I understand.
You're right. You're right there. I think the point of all of this is you're not going to know what it feels like to have this reflection looking back at you of you and your thoughts until you get to that point when you have 60, 70, 80, 100 notes that you've written on your own, and that looks like the shared graph, and you're like, wow.
Yeah.
And really what this is hopefully this is enough of a push to get you to 100 notes, if that makes sense.
Yes.
I hope that this has given you enough insight to go, yes, this is worth doing. And it might take you 6 months. But
yeah,
this is the sort of, do you know what I mean? I wanted you to see what that looks like. And so really it's a matter of, how confident are you with the structure? Obviously you got it. It's a simple structure. You got it. Do you know where the permanent note lives? Yes, you understand that. Relevant notes, because that's how you connect it. Yes, you understand that. I would do a couple more in the shared graph just to get the hang of it. But you should really, by the end of this, be ready to start your own, or have already started your own Zettelkasten in your own room.
I had started it when I saw you. I think for me, the video with Robert.
Yes.
When I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, I was like checking on your Twitter and trying to see, is he going to do it again? Is he going to do it again? And I was so happy when I found out that, Rome Book Club 3 was going to be going through the process, because I had started it by myself, but compared to what we're learning, I was doing everything wrong. Like, And it would take me 2 weeks just to get to one permanent note, because the way that I was going through the process, especially with the literature notes, like the way I understood it then was that I just needed to like read the article and then rewrite it in my own words. So it's like I was just trying to rearrange sentences and looking in the dictionary for other words, and oh my, it was so hard. And I was like, but
Yeah.
now I'm like, you can't do this without fleeting notes. You know, you need to, it's like you said, it's you plus me. It's like you can't go straight, I can't go straight to you. I need to go through me first.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, I think maybe also I feel like I was trying to rush it a bit, because I really want to start writing articles. I have like 5 articles on my website at the moment. And even just doing that, it would take me so long, because I was using the method, I was using progressive summarization. And oh my gosh.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for you.
It was like, how can anybody do this? I said that, you know, it's just like a fancy highlighting system, but it's like by the end of it, I didn't have any notes. I had just highlighted things I didn't know. It was so difficult. And it was like, you know, oh, I struggled so much.
Yes. You're not alone.
Yeah. So I've just been really trying to churn out these articles, but then I realized, I was like, look, I have to really take smart notes, and I can't rush this process. So I think maybe that's what it was. I think I was trying to rush it, just to write articles and write, you know, because they all give the advice to say, no, just write, even if it's not good, you know, but at least it has to be decent, you know? Yeah.
So
So
what do you need now?
I think now, like I said, it was an issue of like when I just have my own thoughts. So I don't know maybe whether that will be something we'll be looking at next week, or if maybe I'm a bit too ahead. When I have my own thoughts, I open up my room, and then on the day I just write. But then there's no system really. There's no workflow.
What if I told you that you already know how to do it?
Okay.
You already know how to do it. You know that? You don't believe me, do you? Let me show you what I mean. Okay.
Okay.
If I make a new permanent note like this is a simple lightweight structure. Let me actually do it how we're doing it, right? This is a lightweight structure here, right?
Yes.
This is actually here. And then you would write fleeting notes, reference notes, literature notes, all that, and the permanent note goes here.
Yes.
What happens if I do this? Okay. What happens if I change relevant notes to, I can't leave relevant notes, right? What if I change this to my ideas? Right? And,
okay, yes.
And I don't need literature notes because you don't have literature. But say you have the reference note, and this could be like your friend. Right?
Okay.
And it's just your friend's name. Okay, I'm just gonna do my friend's name. I'm gonna do Lydia Gibson, right? This is my friend. Okay.
Okay.
And you probably don't even need fleeting notes. Well, I would leave the fleeting notes, but you have this little simple structure, right? And now if I go in here and say you had a great conversation with Lydia, and you're like, I want to remember to always cherish life, right?
Yes.
Make that into a permanent note. Shift click on my ideas, and you go, that kind of looks like a Project Zettelkasten to me.
Okay.
That kind of looks like a Project Zettelkasten to me.
Yes, it does.
No, but wait a second. No. I mean, you want me to make more? Do you want me to make it more difficult? Because okay, you see this here, right?
Yes.
This is my Project Zettelkasten. Okay.
Okay.
And I go here, and I go to this date, and I click on this button. That kind of looks the same, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
It's exactly what it
really
is.
does.
This is all what Project Zettelkasten is. But if I let me just compare it for you here. I'm going to shift. So this was the project Zettelkasten, right? This is the one that I made on my daily notes page. Very similar setup, right? Very simple. I have a permanent note here, the relevant note there, right? And if I click on this page, that kind of looks like a project Zettelkasten.
Yes, it does. It does. So these are all your ideas and thoughts based off of like Twitter threads?
Yes. No, these are just my
I see.
thoughts.
Oh, okay.
I called it Twitter threads because I was thinking about posting this on Twitter, like TweetStorm.
I see.
But it's literally,
Okay.
I could have called this anything. I could have called this anything. I could have called it project or my ideas or whatever. Just don't call it permanent notes.
Okay.
Because if you call it permanent notes, then what happens is if I call this permanent notes, let me show you. If I go here and I call it permanent notes, what happens when I need to, so I call this permanent notes, right? What happens when I need to add another note to my project Zettelkasten? Usually I press shift click and it opens it in the sidebar, right? To add the new one.
Yes.
But if it's permanent notes here, what gets open? It's my Zettelkasten that gets open.
Oh, yes, I see.
So that's why I call this my ideas instead, or project. And so now if I go in here and I shift click on that, now it's opening up my project Zettelkasten.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I see. Yes, it makes a lot of sense. I think it's just understanding, like you said, the structure.
Yes.
And knowing what each is, whether I need to put it in fleeting notes so I can just straight up make a permanent note. But because we've gone through the process and I understand,
you can just
and
have
it's a lot easier. I see. Okay. This is really helpful.
What if you wanted to call this my goals?
Okay.
And you wanted to call this make a blog post. Shift click on my goals. Do you see what I'm saying? It's the exact same thing. And I can go to I'll go to my quarterly goals here. Exact same thing. I have the date here. I have my result. I have my date here, the result there, inline linked references. So you have the structure now to do whatever you'd like. It's just a matter of understanding how the nesting works, because behind this is just the timestamp.
Yeah, and I think having the goals in Rome as well, I think is something that's really helpful, because at the moment I try to use Notion, but since I started RBC3, I don't even think I've touched my Notion. I think it just doesn't really make sense to have it. I mean, it's okay, but I think like you're saying, especially for me, like let's say if I have an idea to write an article, like you put make blog post, but if I'm able to have that in there and connect it some way, and I think that would be really, really, really helpful.
And the more that you learn, and the more that you learn how this nested sequence works, the more that you learn how the indentions work, the clearer everything gets. But you have to just keep building it out.
Okay.
And so really this entire project has been just to get you comfortable enough to where you can start doing this on your own.
Okay. I think that makes a lot of sense. It's giving me a few ideas to just really think about how I can do it now, because before I was a bit stuck. But I think I can see it now, and it's just a matter of playing around with it and trying to figure out
and doing
that
and doing the notes. Yeah, and doing the notes. Because you have to have the notes to be able to play around in there.
Okay.
And you know how to do it already. I mean, maybe it took you 2 hours, but I think an hour and a half of that was just questioning if you were doing it right. And I'm telling you right now, you're doing it right. So I feel like that will cut down on a lot of the time.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, I'm proud of the work that you've done, and project Zettelkasten, you understand. I mean, if you know how to do a Zettelkasten, you can do a project Zettelkasten. And as for workflow, for being able to retrieve your ideas, that's just a matter of, again, just once you have your Zettelkasten set up, you can start, like even now, like go in the shared graph and just go get lost. Get lost in the notes. Click on the little CSS button when it opens up and see where that takes you, and see how the structure helps with showing you what you need to know.
Okay.
It's a very interesting thing.
Yes. Okay, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Let's just go to my Twitter, or these are all my personal thoughts, right? And so say hopefully you can see this, okay?
Yes,
Say I'm just,
thank you.
Okay, so I have everything. Let's go and collapse everything. I have three top level parent blocks on this one, right? And say I want to write about thinking. Let me go into this block thinking, right? And I'm like, what's in here? Okay, the inner battle of thinking. Okay. And I go, what is this? The wrestling of ideas against my current belief is the inner battle that occurs in my mind. Okay, this is great. And then I go over here, and then I clicked on the inline linked references, and now it's like, how do I overcome this inner battle? So with clicking on that, I instantly see a permanent note. Gratitude for the ability to take action can overcome the rudimentary character defects we all face. I feel better already.
Oh, wow. Wow, yes.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm not, yes. But I'm not done. I'm not done. I get to see how I got to that point. And I go, oh yeah, I remember going to floating. Okay, it's like salve for the soul. Yeah, you know?
Yes.
And then I go, okay, well, I'm still on inner battle, right? What if I go the fear of the inner battle? And I go, sharing an original thought is a real fear, since the cultivation of that idea is something that has to be actualized through moving up a person's entire hierarchy of beliefs, an attack against that being a potentially devastating rudimentary attack. And I'm like, now I'm scared, you know? And then I go, how did I come to that idea? And again, it's different because these are all my notes. These are all my notes. You know, these aren't your notes. But what happens when they are your notes?
Yes, exactly. Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Right?
Because I think that the other thing I was trying to understand, like with the Zettelkasten, the permanent notes, was, is it all going to make sense? Because, you know, maybe it's because now, since it's different people writing it together, but I think when it's my own, because like the way you did it, you connected ideas, and I'm guessing from completely different sources, or your thoughts were like on completely different days, but it made sense when you read it together. It's almost like, you know, like it belonged together. And wow, that's amazing. I can't wait to get to that point.
That's what I want you to do, though. I want you to see the shared graph. And I don't want you to see these notes as information. I want you to see this imagining that you have gotten to this point. That's what I want.
I see.
I want you to see your notes in here and just be blown away at how powerful it is to, with one click, have every note you've ever written, every thought that you've ever captured, crystallized into this thought, and you go, oh my God, I can see how all the things are connected. If every single one of these notes were your notes, how would that make you feel?
I would feel really good. Like I would, relief. I don't know, I would just feel like
relief.
I would feel like I haven't wasted all that time reading books. And, you know, I've read so many books in the past, and I just feel like, oh my gosh, I can't remember anything. And I feel like, you know, I can't remember anything, and what am I going to do with the information? And so it's like I have to go back and keep rereading and rereading, but then because I'm still not taking any notes, I'm not retaining anything. But having all this there, I think it's worth it. Yes. It's worth it.
Yes.
Wow, this is amazing. I mean, I think everybody should get on this train. Well, this is really amazing.
I think the best thing we can do is by leading by example. And if people can see you build out your Zettelkasten, they will follow suit. You know, so you have to build your Zettelkasten. So what's stopping you from building that now? And that's going to be really thinking about, like, going through your daily habits that you've been templating and figuring out If I am reading something, how am I going to capture it? If I am watching something, how am I going to capture it? Where is all my captures going to live? And understanding where everything lives and where everything goes has it where there's no friction. Like I have my personal way of doing it where I have 3 different pages. I have captured books. This is one of my captured pages. I have captured YouTube. I have 4 of them in there, right?
Okay.
And then I have captured daily, right? But look what happens. Look what happens on this page.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this makes me not want to work. I don't want to work on this page. This is too much.
Yeah.
This page right here, even when I was spending every minute doing Zettelkasten, and I spent my entire day doing it, I never did more than 6 notes a day.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Why? Because it's a lot of work. I'm tired after. I'm like, whoa, I like really used my brain.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like because it's very like critical thinking focused, you know? And so
yes, it is.
Having 7, you know, that you refill every couple of days is easy. Having 24 makes me not want to do anything. Do you know what I mean? So it's seeing how you can make that, because now that you know that you want a Zettelkasten, now let's make how you're going to capture and process that entire process as smooth as possible.
Okay.
But your process is going to be different from my process. It's going to be different from anyone else's process.
Yes, exactly.
If you go into the shared graph here, I added a new page called the last pieces.
Oh, okay.
And so basically I'm going to be interviewing Tristan of Readwise. And then I also have an interview with Cortex Futura. But I'm just going to continue to add resources here for Otter, for Zotero, Readwise. Do you know what I mean? So
yes.
Like, and that's the idea. You want to start figuring out the tools that you're going to need that you have around you in order to make that process of capturing and processing fleeting notes into permanent notes as easy as possible.
Yes, exactly. Yes,
how do you feel?
Because I feel great. I feel excited.
Yes.
You know, like I'm ready to take on the world. Yeah, because at the moment since I read a lot of books, so I prefer to use Readwise, but I think it's really the only one. I don't like Instapaper too much. I think the whole highlighting thing, it just takes away. I mean, and obviously what we've been doing now proves that, you know, you really need to think. So I prefer Readwise with books and then having that, but then I think that the whole issue was just, okay, where does it sit? But I think from what you've just explained, where you have pages where you can capture and then process them into the permanent notes.
And here's the thing, Martha, you know what you're doing. And this is how I look at it. The very first 2 or 3 weeks of this was very like tight. You know, it was very tight. Like there wasn't much movement. As we started moving deeper and deeper into this, there's way too much complexity. Like I can't answer every question. And then as you go into your personalized workflow, I can't answer every question. So I knew that. So I had to make sure that everyone has to build up this own self-confidence in themselves. And if you look at your work and you look at my work and you compare it, when you watch back this video, you're going to be like, I'm doing what he's doing. I get it. And you get it. You got it.
Yeah.
Now it's just, you got it. Everyone's got it. That's the thing. This is how I know it works. Because everyone got it. Everyone got it. The hard part is going, okay, I understand the concept. I understand the structure. Maybe I can get better every day, of course. But now it's just about doing that. And and it's, you know, that's it.
Yes. And I think that the guided writing exercises were they were on point, because when I'm at this point now, when I'm trying to write and sometimes I feel like, oh my goodness, why am I doing this? it's like I always remember, like, day 3, I think it was, or day 4, where it's like, the why part of it. And it's like every time I'm writing, I'm making the fleeting notes, trying to turn them into permanent notes. When something comes up, there's always a reference to the guided writing exercises that helps me through it. So I think those were really good.
Do you see this? Like, look how much work you've done. Okay. Now you're gonna tell me that you don't understand, like you can't do this? Like, look at this.
Oh wow, I haven't looked at that.
I'm not done. I'm on day 16. I'm still scrolling down, Martha. Okay? Like, you get it. You got it. And the thing is, you see this structure right here? What is it? What structure does this look like? This kind of looks like a permanent note structure, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
This kind of looks like a project structure, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
So I'm just saying, like, you've done the work. You've done the work. You got it. Now it's just a matter of accepting that.
And doing it more.
You got it. Doing it more. You already did it. You've already been doing it. And that's the thing. I tricked everyone. That's what it is. I tricked all of you guys. I tricked you into doing it.
But it was an excellent trick. I mean, I don't think we would have gotten it any other way other than this way.
Life-changing.
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
It's relieving, because then it's like, I know where everything lives now. I don't have to worry about that. Like, that part of my life, the learning and note-taking part of my life, the weight on my shoulders is like, oh, finally.
Yes. I'm so excited about this. And I mean, I think someone had mentioned, I don't know if I can get like an accountability partner to at least get to maybe like 50 permanent notes.
DM me.
I think it would be really great.
DM me.
Yes.
DM
Okay.
Direct message me after every one.
Okay.
Okay? I'm serious.
Okay.
But in your personal Zettelkasten, the minute you get done with the Zettel, message me.
Okay.
Until 50. I want you to get to 50 in the next 6 months.
Okay.
Or actually, 6 months. You can do that.
Yes, definitely.
I said, how many? We said 60?
Yeah, let's go for 60.
Okay. So that's 180. Right? I'm not good with math.
In how long? In 6 months?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna go with math, so I need like a calculator for that.
6 months. You need to do 10 a month.
Okay, that's great. I think I can do that.
10 a month.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
By the time you hit 60, you're gonna understand. By the time you hit 40, you'll understand. But 60 is gonna be like, wow. You're like, wow, this is me. This is me. This is me. This is literally me. And you're like, I can see connections.
Okay.
Martha, I'm proud of you. Do you have any other questions?
I think the only one was really, I don't know if you can hear my son calling out there, but anyway, I wanted to find out the notes that we're making now into the shared graph. What happens with them? Like if I want to keep them in my own personal graph, do I have to rewrite the permanent note, or can I just lift it?
Yes, rewrite the
place it somewhere.
Note. Rewrite the permanent note. Why? Because before we write this, we have to shift click on the permanent note and see where it fits in the Zettelkasten before we write the permanent note, right?
Yes.
And so it's the same idea. That's not a good one. This one's better. So before I write this permanent note, I don't write this permanent note on my own. Before I write this, I have to open the permanent notes and see where it fits. And then taking this information from the fleeting notes and the literature notes, then I write the crystallized thought here. You know?
Okay.
So you can keep all this. You can keep the literature note, the fleeting notes and the reference notes, but delete the permanent note, delete the relevant notes, and delete the index, and do a new one in your Zettelkasten, if that makes sense.
Okay, yes, that makes a lot of sense. Because I had experience with that when you, I think when you looked at my first one, and then so I redid that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of had a bit of some experience, and I thought it was good because I was like, oh, I have to do it again. But I think that also in redoing it, it also really helped me to critically look at
Yes.
where I would have to put it. And I
What,
think that was eye-opening for me.
why do you need to do another permanent note?
Yeah, because the conversation is different. The conversation is different.
You got it. You got it. You got it. Martha, you're amazing. Okay. I gotta get ready for the second call here. You've got it. The only thing I'm gonna, encourage you to do is now figure out the step-by-step process that you need to do, so you don't have to think about where how do you capture a fleeting note? Where does a fleeting note go? When do I start processing these fleeting notes? How, like, what time of day? What tool am I going to use to get the information into Rome? And those are the things I want you to start questioning, because that's going to make everything smooth and streamlined.
Yes.
But that's something that you have to figure out.
Okay.
Because that's your workflow. Okay.
Okay.
I'm excited for you.
Thank you so much. I'm excited too.
Good.
And I mean, you've been incredible, amazing. Thank you so much.
Yes. DM me after every permanent note, okay?
Yes, I will.
Awesome. Bye, Martha.
Okay, thank you. Bye.